Just because a priest gets ordained a priest after he's ordained a deacon doesn't mean he ceases to become a deacon. So all priests are still diaconal. They still imitate Christ as the servant, which is what deacon means, to serve. They're still called to wash the feet of their servants, which is kind of that idyllic scene where we see Christ removing his garment and kneeling down and washing the feet of his disciples. And he says, what I've done to you, I want you to do to others. I've given you a model. And so the diaconate is one. It's not like there's a permanent and a transitional, and they're at their core different. The way they're lived out does look different. And so I think that's a good distinction of like, actually, it's the same participation in holy orders. It's the same ordination rite. There's no difference, except there's maybe one little phrase that's different about celibacy and stuff like that. So, but there is a difference in how they're lived out, in that transitional deacons are pursuing the priesthood, pursuing that fuller participation in holy orders, which is Christ as king and as priest, exercising that full authority. Yeah, and then permanent deacons can be single or married. There are permanent deacons who are not married. So that's another misnomer, right? That only permanent deacons are married. No, actually, there's some celibate permanent deacons who are very courageous, and they're pursuing that vocation with that vow of celibacy. And yeah, so the diaconate is a call to serve those who Christ laid down his life for, which is everyone, right? We hope for the salvation of all people. And so I really see the diaconate as the part of the church which is ordained to specifically serve the community of the faithful, and also lead them in a way which they become missionaries to their neighborhoods and the people around them, right? Because deacons are unique in that we have a foot in the world, right? We all have secular jobs, or we all have families, or we're out in the communities in a way that the celibate priests are not. But we're also a cleric, and we're in the church, and we're serving obedience to the bishop and to the mission of the church. And so there's this beautiful call of deacons, permanent deacons in particular, to be that bridge between the world and the church, and to kind of lead the people of God, both in worship, serving of the Mass, as well as in service to their neighbors, particularly through the works of corporal works of mercy, but also the spiritual works of mercy too. I think in this age of post Christianity, where our world is more and more secular, maybe the work of mercy that is most needed right now is that spiritual work of mercy, to share the gospel. You can do that sometimes more effectively through the corporal works of mercy. And so inviting people to encounter those who are poor in the prisons, in the nursing homes, in hospitals, it's a beautiful way to share the gospel as well. When people are poor, it's much easier to share the gospel. But then teaching others how to encounter that baptismal call to serve themselves. It's a joy. So